No, this is your first go, yeah?
This is my first go. So we say the best first. Brought you on because you're the best. But glad you're on with us. Thrive, not just survive. So you own Mud Bugs.
Mm-hmm.
You're an entrepreneur at heart. You're a chef. What got you? Why a chef? What got you into that? Why do you like to cook?
Been doing it all my life, literally.
So, like, how old were you when you started cooking?
4 or 5.
Really, 4 or 5. What was your first meal?
First thing I cooked, first thing I remember cooking was
Like macaroni and cheese?
No.
Did you ever fry bologna and keep it from curling up? Did you ever figure out how
There's
to
a
do
secret to that, yeah.
Is there?
Yeah. Yep. Little perforations, so it won't dome up. Yeah, I've had a couple fried bologna sandwiches in my day.
So what did you cook at 4 years old?
I think I started at 4 years old because there's actually a picture on my phone, but I look like I'm high on chocolate. Forecasting, and my mom's making these chocolate muffins or whatever, and I just got chocolate over my face, and I'm just like I've just been eating the beaters and got busted, But 5 years old, I remember 5 years was a very poignant year in my life. At 5 years old, my grandfather was a big part of who I am. My dad. Those are my two heroes, I've got another one in there I throw in from time to time when it's appropriate for the conversation. But ham and beans with cornbread and cast iron scallop potatoes was the first thing I made.
Had that.
That's what I did at the
Yeah.
Saloon Shop House Tavern.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, yeah.
Like the big ham bone with the beans?
Well, the ham hocks, they're about knuckles,
yeah.
Almost, if you will.
Yeah.
But a lot they're shanks, if you will. But my dad would smoke those. I helped my mom make the cornbread, help cut the potatoes. I had my hand on the knife with my mom's hand on top, and she would show me how to cut. And so I cut the potatoes and remember layering them with all the different ingredients in the cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
Crank it up on medium high in the cast iron, and then take a big plate, flip it over, put the other side in. So then the top is now the bottom. That's getting to you pop it in the oven. Then we soaked the beans overnight, brought them to a boil, add all the other ingredients to it, some onions, garlic, salt, pepper. It's very, very simple. That's what makes it great. It's just so simplistic in its.
So your mom taught you to cook.
My mom, my grandfather on my mom's side, my step-grandfather.
Yeah.
My mom's dad passed away before I was born. I never got to meet him. A lot of people say I look a lot like him.
Yeah. My
My temperament was the same. I used to be real quick to temper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I should win a presidential medal as liberally as they're handing that out. Pun intended, I guess.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I grew up around impatient people. Not necessarily my folks. My dad, man's man, factory worker. He was in the Air Force, was out before I was born. My grandfather, factory worker, just real hardworking men. My mom cooked, did everything around the house, just everything. But I remember cooking the ham and beans, and today it's still my favorite meal, and that's why it was on the menu there. Yeah. But in high school, I had paper routes, and I did McDonald's. That didn't work out at McDonald's. Went to Wendys, and that worked out with Wendys. And then I moved to Pensacola and transferred to Wendys down there, and just didn't really. It's fast food,
Yeah.
Even when that was really good fast food. It was
Wendy's.
great, man. It was great.
Wendy's chili
Was legit.
Chili with cheese and raw onion, except with the finger. Remember that time long ago they found a finger in
that's
it?
a bummer.
Minus the finger, the Wendy's chili I always thought was
Where the magic is, man.
Never fingers in chili.
Yeah.
No, it's just the way that you did the
Finger
patties.
looking
You had the
good.
square patties, so you had the griddle lined up.
Yeah.
And it got to a certain point, it could no longer be on a single or double or triple. So that got stacked up, put into a pan, and then that was the meat for the chili.
Yeah.
So there was virtually zero waste.
Yeah.
At Wendy's.
So your mom taught you to cook, and that was your first kind of meal since 4 or 5 years old cooking.
Yeah.
So what motivates you? I mean, why do you like cooking food? What does it do? What does it do for you?
Man, it's good. It's cliche and stupid, but it's good for your soul. People hinge their happiness.
What do you mean, good for your soul? Good for your soul to cook?
So you remember the devil with the shotgun, right?
Uh-huh.
The app, it is fantastic, right?
Yep.
Probably one of the best appetizers you ever had. That's why I do that.
What is it?
Because it's memorable.
It's memorable.
What is it called?
It's like, so I brag on my collard greens, and I have legit collard greens. My mom's Southern cook. I've known plenty of. Most of my life was in Pensacola. That's Redneck Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place called Jerry's Drive-In there. It's home of the pink pig, big pink pig on the sign out front. Fantastic little diner, great hangover hamburger. You take a bite, the grease just
is it
running
still
down
there?
your arm. Oh yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, that is. There's an old restaurant called H&O Cafe. Soul food as soul food gets. Some of the best collard greens I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Best, probably best cornbread I think I've ever had in my life.
You like greens?
I do.
Mustard
Yep.
greens? You like mustard greens?
I like
so
mustard
I grew
greens.
up with my grandma with cooking a cast iron skillet,
Mm-hmm.
that sweet cornbread. And I would watch my grandpa do this, and he would break it open on his plate and then put a big old pile of mustard greens on top and then some kind of pepper sauce on it. And that today is one of my favorite meals.
I had
Brings back a lot of memories.
I brag on my greens, and I had this lady that comes in there. I haven't seen her in a minute. I don't know if she moved away or not. But she's about 65, 70-year-old black lady, walks in there. She comes into Mudbugs, or used to. And I was bragging on it. She was like, I'll be the judge of that. And I said, come on, bring it. I stand behind them. And she came into Saloon Tavern.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's fantastic. Those arguably the best collard greens I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
That's things like that. When somebody says that's the best that I've ever had,
Especially if they know the culture that grew up in that kind of a culture,
absolutely.
that food. Yeah.
You know,
Is that more something that was passed down tradition, or would you say that's kind of trial and error?
What,
that
collard greens?
Well, just what you've arrived
I
at.
do.
Yeah, what you've arrived at. Is that a matter of tradition or a matter of trial and error? Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's a cop-out answer, but yes, it's
Started somewhere.
It's old things done new ways.
Uh-huh.
A new approach to classics. I mean, you could argue that, like popcorn lobster tail on top of mac and cheese is, it's anything. You can just change one ingredient, the protein on mac and cheese. It's revolutionary, Ooh. But no, I mean, taking things like I don't brag on myself a lot. I really, really don't. I'm not that type of guy. But those duck cigars are just fantastic. And I just don't. I don't have anything in Mudbugs that's just one item is dedicated to. One ingredient is dedicated to one thing. It's a lot of cross utilization, especially right now with COGS being as high as they are.
Yeah.
We're streamlined as what we can on this menu that we just released. But Devil with the Shotgun is one of those. It's the 3 jumbo crispy shrimp with a habanero honey and 3 charbroiled oysters. I should never have taken that off the menu, but
Yeah.
if I had a crystal ball.
So how did you start Mudbugs? What was it?
Gosh, I've always wanted to do my own restaurant since.
People say, have you heard this, that running a restaurant is like the hardest job, one of the hardest jobs, because you're always on. You're always working.
I would say yes, but I don't know if it's the hardest job because it's all I've ever done. I mean,
You don't know any different.
I've been wooed away from the hospitality industry, and it just never gained any traction with me. So I went right back to it.
Yeah.
It's what I do. It's what I do. What I think I do best.
But you started Mudbugs like right on the eve of COVID.
Same
here
day
in
the world
Buda.
shut down.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And what were you? But you were in the business in Austin prior to that.
Yeah, I left Indiana, went to Pensacola, went through the Brinker International Hall of Fame. You got Red Lobster, Applebee's, a couple local places in Pensacola. But I tell you what, Applebee's though, back in the day, I have no idea what it's like now. It's just been since the mid '90s.
Uh-huh.
had the best management training program. It was a month long.
That was a pretty good restaurant.
It used to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I haven't been here in a long
I haven't
time.
been in Applebee's. I know James Frankwitz them about 2 or 3 times a week.
Do you like
but,
Applebee's, James?
No. No, but I have been before because they have like $2 margaritas.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but I
Yeah.
remember when I went, they were pretty good. Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you started
Yeah, I started that, and then
right at the beginning of COVID. How did a restaurant take off when everyone was told to stay home? How'd you do that?
Well, of course, I didn't know anything about it until I was oblivious to anything outside of opening this restaurant. And if it didn't have anything to do with mud bugs, I was oblivious to it. I had no idea what was going on in China, what was going on, what was coming in at the Pacific Northwest.
You were just head down.
Head down, head down, head down,
Yeah.
head down. I really didn't have a deadline. And then I was like, oh, what's the first Friday 13th? Because I'm not a superstitious guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't believe in luck. I think that the purest definition of luck, my definition of luck is preparedness meets opportunity. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're just like, oh, no, there was some kind of divine intervention.
You make your own luck.
Or absolutely, you really do. I didn't know what was going on as far as COVID goes. And then Friday the 13th was our VIP party. Kind of like my middle finger into superstition. Friday 13th, I was like, oh, man, did I do that?
Yeah.
Did I call something?
But then, on
This is all your
Monday,
fault.
Monday was our grand opening day, and we still packed it out because people still wanted to come in, but they were cautious coming in because it hadn't quite reached us yet.
That was February, right?
That's
No,
probably like March or
March.
April.
March.
Yeah.
March
Okay.
16th, Monday, March 16th.
Okay. Spring break. Gotcha.
And I told my staff I wasn't going to close. They were throwing the words essential and all that stuff out.
Yeah.
I said we're more than essential. That's what polarized a lot of people. Some people felt insignificant, and I hate what they did because everybody's essential in what we do. But rabbit holes we get down on.
That's easy to do.
Not on this one. But
So people left your restaurant after they ate and they went to the grocery store, bought all the toilet paper, and then.
yeah.
But how did you? Did you close any?
No. I had a whole menu full of food that we donated to the fire stations, to the police station. We gave as much as we possibly. I hate waste. More than anything, I hate waste.
So you gave
Whether
away
it's
a lot.
the waste of time, waste of product, waste of money, whatever. But 65% of my staff left after the end of the first week because there's after the second week. I'm sorry, there was nobody was really coming in, and they said you can't gather, and then it was to go only. So with the ones that stayed with me, we turned it into a well-oiled machine. We had the banquet area just lined up with to-go orders, the bar lined up to go. People that didn't want to get out of their cars, we went out there. Excuse me, my landlord let me set up the crawfish boil underneath the awning of where Roxy's is going now. So I'm very excited about that. Scott Roberts, great job on securing that, bringing in a different concept.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about it. Plus, we have the florist coming in next door. I don't know the actual name for the florist. I met the owner, super great guy, and his parents were in town to help him do the build out. And you thought Jackie's place was beautiful with all the artwork up there. Wait until you see this florist.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a snippet of who I am just in that one. It's Mudbugs is great, man. I want to focus on the people around me.
Yeah.
Because that's just, somebody asked me one day, you're the only game in town. Well, or no, Brooklyn's was, I guess, at the time. And it's like in the middle of nowhere. What's up, Ranger Danger? And, they're like, you're going to bring some competition. I said, I don't look at it as competition. I look at it as attraction. Case in point, you're Brooklyn's, you're the only game in town. But you build a restaurant or open up a restaurant now next to the only restaurant in town. You're no longer middle of nowhere. You're a community.
Right.
And Buda's already a very strongly knit community as far as the neighborhoods and your network of friends and yours. And I touch many different circles. I have the fortune of owning a restaurant where all my circles interact. And, that's why I do restaurants. I love creating atmosphere, swing big, and I connected with Mudbugs. And I love how people want to come in and see what we're doing next. And, I want to get back to having a different daily dozen every single day. But right now it makes sense the way that we're doing it Monday through Thursday. We do the same meal because some people can't make it on Monday,
That's
Tuesday.
cool.
And it'll
Yeah.
be hard going back to, or it would be hard if I decide to go back to that, or my team and I decide to go back to that. But right now, necessity is the mother of invention. So we streamline our menu just a tad bit.
How close did Mudbugs come to failing during COVID? Because so many things failed, right?
Are you asking me in JPark's 2020, or are you asking JPark's right now 2025?
Like hindsight?
Yeah.
You mean?
I would say, looking hindsight, we really didn't come that close to it.
Yeah.
But you felt like you were
100%.
at the time?
Oh yeah, I was just like, after it set in that this thing isn't going anywhere.
It was it was the unknown.
That was the harder part for me. It wasn't the upfront thing of it, because people still wanted to go out, or third parties were really wanting my business, but they're keeping 30-40%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to make a little bit of I don't care about my living. I don't. This nothing I ever do is about me. It's about the community, 100%. It's the first place that I felt home since I left home, even more so. The people are here just spectacular in all their flaws and in all their successes. That's why I do this, because I have come in contact with some of the absolute best people that anybody could ever want to meet.
Yeah.
One of my very best friends is Jake Akers, Snowball's Chance. The guy is pure. His heart is pure as it could possibly be. And all he is about is doing the absolute best and figuring out, because he knows perfection doesn't exist. And when we fall short on one little thing, he's like, okay, hey, now I've got it, Jeff. Check this out. So
it's an opportunity.
Oh,
amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you were talking about Buda and the community, and you can kind of spread that, there's Buda, Kyle, but it seems like that and I live in Kyle, but there is a definite, you can feel a definite difference between the Buda community and the Kyle community. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just the way things are changing, culture is changing. Buda has this culture. How would you define Buda's culture? It's like it
is a community.
Especially
it's
downtown.
Unique, So I grew up in Cypress, just outside of Houston, and at that point in time, in the 90s, I feel like, we were considerably bigger than Buda is now, but even then, we were still kind of a community, and I felt it just get swallowed up by Houston. It just kind of became the concrete jungle. And so I think it could, the same could have happened to Buda, because, right, I mean, you go north, Round Rock, Pflugerville, Georgetown, all that, like it's just South Dallas.
Yeah.
It's just one big amalgamous concrete jungle. But but West Buda has done a really good job of maintaining its identity as community. And it was actually when I first went into business back in 2016, right there on Main Street, is when they got that Main Street grant. And I think that probably predated your time, but the state awarded these grants into like 2 Main Street towns in all of Texas, and that's why you have all these lights that are the exact same storefronts. There's some uniformity, and that really brought a lot of feeling of community, and it made Main Street a place to be. And so Buda, specifically the west side, right there on Main Street, where you've had so much success. I feel like it's a community that really supports local and looks out for one another. And I think it's just been so good, through the ups and the downs with what you've had. It has been just amazing how the private citizen has come out and said, JParks has given us something really cool. We got to go out and we got to support it. And I saw a lot of that during Mudbugs. And then we saw a lot of it during JParks, and people get up here to bat for one another.
So do you feel like that the community really, you obviously have a heart for the people, that's why you're doing this, but do you feel like that during the COVID days, the community really sought to support you and your employees there at Mudbugs?
That's a real easy yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I mean, well, I jokingly say mud bugs saved mud bugs, because, after we gave as much as we possibly could away, we really chiseled the menu down to about 4 items. We did gumbo, crawfish boils, and po' boys.
Yeah.
Really, that was it. And every once in a while, if we had some stuff left over, it was okay. We had some stuff left over after all that stuff we've given away. How can we possibly get the word out there? Well, that's just, it's Facebook, Facebook. And so that's what I did. It's just, it was in community engagement. It's where I do something like, okay, our 500th like or 500th follower, whoever it is, we're going to, your next visit, show us your ID and you're the person on here that liked it, because we're keeping track.
Yeah.
And we literally went through and counted everyone, the 500th, the 750th, and the 1,000th, and those just, it's community involvement and engagement. And I'm going to get back to that. We have some really cool things we can talk about in a little bit with mud bugs that we're going to promote. And just, I think people are ready. The last couple of years have just been a kick in the teeth to everybody.
It's been tough.
It's been super difficult.
So getting into tough, you started JPark's first?
No, Mud Bugs is.
No, I mean after Mud Bugs on the other
was
down the street was
JPark.
JPark. And what kind of a place was that?
So it started off JPark Saloon and Standard. And I wanted to be more of a bar that has some really good food. And it's 8 items. It was it. People go, I'm tired of so many choices. Here's 8. Right down the middle of the page, there's 8. And it's not one thing as an appetizer, not one thing as an entree. But you could look at something as an entree, you could look at something as an appetizer. It was very...
made it easy for you people.
It was super easy.
I like it.
And mind you, everything I say, I am 100% responsible for everything. Mm-hmm. It's mine. It's literally my name on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's altruistic as I could possibly want to be, and why I made it or started off the way that it was, because people were just tired of technology. I heard it all the time in mud bugs. We just want a place to get away where we can't be connected to anybody else, and just want to be sitting across the table and doing what we're doing now. No electronics involved. Aside from this, this is purposeful, and I went to, or I heard about a place in Fort Worth, Tim Love. He does Lonesome Dove restaurants, and he has a place in Fort Worth called Katarina's. They have like 45, 46, 47 seats in the whole place.
Wow.
No cell phones allowed.
So you did that.
You put it in a bag and they lock it and you give it back to the person. And I've been to Joe Rogan's Mothership Comedy Club.
Yeah.
They take your phone from you, they power it down, and then they put it in the exact same pouch, magnetically lock it shut, and they give it back to you. And I'm like going, how else, what a better platform than for people to completely get away from it. And so that's what it was. But I forgot my demographics. I'm not in Fort Worth. I'm not in Austin.
Okay, so you tried it.
I tried it.
You're listening to the people, and you said, okay, well, let's do this.
Right. And it's nobody's responsibility. And it's not fault. I'm not taking fault in it. It's my responsibility because, like I said, I wanted to give Buda something that you would have to go to the big city for. Mm-hmm. And I'm right down the street from this other place that you don't have to leave Buda for.
Yeah.
And so it was no cell phones and no kids, and just come in and be in the moment, just exist.
Which sounds
for a minute.
Fantastic.
And there were there's this one couple that came in, and one of the guys walking out, and they were just laughing after they walked out. And I said, "How was it?" And he was like, "I'll tell you straight up, be honest with you, we were very skeptical by giving our phone over and all this." He goes, "But this guy's been one of my best friends for like 30 years. And we've had conversations about things that we have forgotten about that happened 30, 25 years ago.
Because there wasn't always
it wasn't there.
Who just texted me? Oh, I got to,
But I get it. That's what I forgot. That's the time that we're in, and that's the location that I'm in. It's a very family-oriented atmosphere, Buda is. Mm-hmm. And that was on me that I forgot that. But still,
something you
I
tried.
listened to them,
Something you
and
tried.
I changed it from JPark Saloon and Standard. Saloon, like the saloon part is, we're just a nice high-end bar that has a few items to choose from to eat. The standard part is we're the standard. We want to be the measuring stick, and that's not a conceited or an all self-absorbing standpoint. If you're the if you want to be the best at something, I think that I'm the best restaurant in Buda as far as mudbugs go.
We'll take that mantle on. We'll assume that responsibility.
I think that it is, and I don't mean by volumes. I mean, I'm talking by here and there, because you can just do one thing wrong and fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have staffing issues. You still have what is that? Where the flow chain gets.
Supply chain.
Supply chain. Thank you. Still have those issues. We didn't get steaks in to do steak night last night or for Friday night. I'm like, so that's not my deal, but it's my responsibility.
Those things happen. That's your control,
but I wanted to be the standard with that, and we had a great menu, a great atmosphere, but it was never profitable. And then I just had to change themes. We shut down for a month and changed it, and the guy that's now my director of operations, he goes, you need more than 30 days. You cannot do it in 30 days. And I was like, well, watch me. Hold my beer. I did it in 28 days.
So what all did you change? I know you changed.
Well, not much. I mean, I made the low tops, high tables. We put the new sign out, changed the menu up just a little bit, made it more of a bar with food instead of a restaurant that has a bar. But there were some things that I did just shotgun fast, and it really shouldn't have. I was thinking about this earlier today, and we talk about hindsight, and we brought it up again, and how people go, would you do it differently? And I said that's a loaded question, because you really need to finish that question. Knowing now, would you do 100%? Knowing now, what if I knew that then. Man, of course. I probably wouldn't have done it. It's been incredibly costly on many different levels. And friendships gone. Money gone. Millions is the difference.
You lost friends through.
I've lost friends over it. The money that I've lost, money is an illusion, y'all. There's no value to money. You take $1 million and put it on an island somewhere, and it's worth nothing. It's the deeds and the exchange of goods and services. That's why bartering's against the law, because they can't tax it.
Right.
Yep.
Didn't we leave England for a 2% increase?
Yep.
On tea?
And now when you add it all up, it's over 50%.
Easy.
It's
property taxes.
The love of money. And that's why people think you in a restaurant that you have millions and millions.
Oh, you must be rich
because
you own your
I used my money and investor money for mud bugs, paid my investors back. Swing big, hit big with mud bugs. Swing big, missed real big with the tavern.
So so let's go there. So you changed JPark's to the
JPark's Chop House and Saloon, thinking of people identify more with the Chop House. And then that didn't work, because it was still the common denominator was JPark's at the front. JPark's no cell phones, no kids. JPark's no cell phones, no kids. JPark's no cell phones, no kids. And so then I that's why we shut down in April and changed it from JPark's to Buda full tavern.
Yeah, that was April.
We opened up in May 20 for this last year. Yeah, 23 June or July 10th of 23 is when we opened up the tavern or JPark's.
Yeah. 28 days you had
28 days
transformation.
28 days, and I had a lot of people helping me. It's not just me. It's Mudbugs is not me.
Yeah,
it's not all me. But it just got. The tavern gained tons of momentum. It's exactly what Buda wanted.
I loved it. I remember Melissa and I, this is still before I met you, Melissa and I were going to go eat somewhere. We're always thinking, it was Kyle or we don't want to, every now and then we'll go up into Austin, but I drive up into Austin for work, and anytime I can not go into Austin, I'll not go. And there's great restaurants in Buda. So I was like, well, let's go to this beautiful tavern. this guy I keep hearing about, JPark, whatever his last name is. Let's go check that out. And so we went and sat down with these high boys. Y'all had high boys then, right? Is that when you or the tall tables?
Oh yes, yeah.
And so I asked the lady, said, "Hey, bring me a menu." So, well, we have steak. So it was Wednesday night.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Well, do you have a menu?" I said, "No, we have steak." It's like,
who said that?
I thought that's all y'all had was steak.
Oh no, that was the only night that we had steak. We didn't only have steak on Wednesday night, but we had a full menu. But
I thought she said that's all we have is.
God,
or Wednesday was the only night we had steak.
Correct.
Maybe I wanted
Correct.
steak, and she says, "Well,
you're in luck. That's
tonight's
the
the only way."
Correct.
But I'm telling you, it was the best steak I've had in a long time. It was a very, very good.
Thank you.
I don't know if y'all marinate it a certain way, or just the seasoning, or the
What's
cut,
the secret?
or what? Yeah, what you got a secret
He's
recipe?
not at liberty, doesn't look like
It wouldn't be a secret then, James. No, there's actually, I'll brag on it. There's a buddy of mine, James Joseph. He has a company, or one of the things that he does, he has a company called On Point Seasoning. And they have it's called Steak and More. And then they have an AR barbecue rub. And then they have a GSP garlic, salt, pepper. Mm-hmm. And we use that for the fries. We use that for the steaks, for the burgers. Makes them on point. Pun intended. I mean, it's very good. And James is just a super humble guy. He loves his product. I love his product. You don't put on ice cream. I'm not joking. It's fantastic seasoning. I like it better than I like tahini. Tahini's super citrusy, Mm-hmm. But this one that doesn't have quite as much. And I like the Steak and More than I like the AR because that barbecue's got a little bit of sweet, and sometimes I don't want sweet in my savory.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but it was just too little too late. And I have 3 investors on that project that I will pay them back one day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to drag it out for years and years and years because this dry spell's coming to an end. Mm-hmm. And I never really had a dry spell where this is self-induced.
Sure.
I
saw how much I didn't have a front row view, but we were friends.
Yeah,
and I was close enough to see that, and I saw the passion and really the love affair that you had with JParks and Beautiful Tavern and all that stuff. So losing it was personal to you. And so how did you really what were the depths like, and then what kind of bounced you back out of that?
The depths, man.
It was personal.
I'm a fairly confident guy. I love what I do in the business. You want to get real?
Yeah.
It's hard.
You put your soul into it.
Well, I'm going to cry, Jerry. Keep it getting Jenny, yeah. You'll find out that my coping mechanism is humor all through this night. You want to know what the depths are like. Don't ask a question if you don't want to know. I don't know how far down I could go. But I will tell you that. Thank you, sir. I'm glad I don't own a gun.
Amen.
Man, it got that tough. Is it because of the people that were involved?
Great people involved. Out those shout outs all through the night. It's not even that fresh anymore. It still just hurts. It's personal for me. Mm-hmm. I can't turn business on and off. I can't. businesses are made up of souls.
Mm-hmm.
And Tito is one of my mentors, and I consider him a friend. He is one of the people that has helped my skid, so to speak, just with words of wisdom, and experience. And he goes, Jeff, have you ever heard of this? Is a series of speeches that he's given. I'll mess up the name. It's Tito's, and he's talking to a group of people downtown. This is many years ago, it seems like, and he goes, I'm not going to talk about vodka tonight. I'm just going to put that out there. He goes, we're going to talk about failures and how to turn them into your strengths.
Wow.
And he goes, I failed 20 times. And
Tito said he failed 20 times.
20 times. And it's the first one, he was like, I don't know, in his early mid-teens, and it was, I think, a paper or something.
Yeah.
And but his tenacity, and I'd like to think that mine could match that. The depths are putting as much of yourself out there as you possibly can and scraping enough off the floor at the end of the day and going home and just hoping that the quiet is so deafening that you need to go buy a hearing aid.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Or that you need to go buy earplugs, I guess I should say, because you don't want to amplify that. But you just sit there in nothingness and try to reflect on, the life is taking over. And there's a song, there's a little snip in the song that I listen to a lot now, and it talks about, I want to know what it's like to live and not just be alive. And I feel like I've just been, it's kind of appropriate, the title, survive to thrive, because it's been barely surviving and then losing. But did I lose? I was talking to Chad earlier today, and there's this little thing on this little clip that I saw on something, and it's that Sheldon character from Big Bang, and the caption of it is God's plan for your life. And he's sitting there flipping through it, and he's like, why? Why? Oh my God, why? And then he flips one and he goes, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So I have not asked what else.
That's really good.
I don't need a what else. But it got dark. It got lonely. It got scary. I wanted to be around people because I love being around people. But I didn't want to be around anybody because everybody was asking me, how's the restaurant growing? What happened to the restaurant? Whether it's pre-closing, post-closing, how are you? And when you reflect on something, when you're in that moment, it's overwhelming. And I couldn't carry on a conversation without you met me.
Yeah.
The first conversation I had, it was asking how everything's going, and that was decision time to close the tavern.
Yeah, that was we had just met for a business meeting, and sit down, me and you and Kimberly Shoemaker, and I think I went and got us both a cup of coffee or something and sat down, and you mentioned that, and I said, how many restaurants do you have? I said, well, I have 2, and one of them is closing. And so how are you doing? And that was finally the floodgates open.
Yeah, just
that was right in the middle of it, huh?
It's hard to describe it because it had every element that I really wanted, and I really wanted it to be fine dining. That was my goal for that. Just how can you be fine dining with 8 items? And this is they're all throwbacks. Yeah. Everything on that menu was but we did everything. So let me apologize one time for doing few things exceptionally well versus apologize 1,000 times for a phone book of options done half-assed.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I've never, there was a restaurant in South Carolina that I accepted and then declined the job for an executive sous chef position before I moved here or to Austin. And they had 5 sous chefs and 2 exec chefs. I'm like going,
Wow.
they have 575 seats. And on a Mother's Day, they said they would go through 1,500 tenderloins.
Good grief.
Wow.
That is crazy.
No, you can pay me 6 figures and I'll be miserable.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to, I've never, ever, ever been in restaurants, specifically mud bugs, to make money, to get rich and all that. I don't care about that. I've lived on $20,000 a year before.
Right.
Did you love mud bugs the same way that you loved JParks?
Oh, I love mud bugs. I love the culture of mud bugs. 100%. It's my baby. It's my first.
Not now, but if
in comparison,
if mud bugs had died, so to say, at the in that same time frame, mud bugs is really successful. This is from this guy's perspective. Mud bugs, man. I mean, like you said, you hit a grand slam with that. That was fantastic. But then I saw you build out JParks, and some of my favorite conversations that you and I have ever had. I would go have meetings up at JParks on Mondays at 4:00, right when you guys open, and that's when you would come try new stuff out on me, and so that was kind of hit or miss. But just you explaining these things, you just said with so much passion, right? And I feel like that's the approach that you brought to JParks. Would mud bugs have failing that early in the game affected you the same way that JParks did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I put everything in. I don't know. I don't know if I put everything in, because some people say when you think you've reached the end of your rope, especially entrepreneurs or whatever. And I guess I am. I don't know. I've never really thought I'm an entrepreneur. I guess I am. But they say that you have about 40% more than the average person.
Sure.
Or we're I think it was you mentioned it the last week or whatever, and the adage, that the old adage that God will never give you more than you can handle. Oh yeah, He will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And He doesn't. And I don't think He does that in a sadistic way. It's just, I just think God knows a lot better than we do, and He can. You tell me years ago that I'd be able to handle what I've gone through in the last 2 years, and I say I've gone through it. But what has transpired the last 2 years?
Yeah.
But the level of responsibility that I have, I dare say that 75% of the population can handle it, and I don't know why it's on me. I haven't gotten to that, that's why moment yet.
Right. Haven't got to that
I'm
page
getting
yet.
there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
There's lessons learned in my own business sense. My director of operations, Justin Audebert, is my proverbial Jesus Christ walking on water with my restaurant, and with Tavern too. He has been in the business about 20 years less than I am, or than I've been in it. And he knows volumes more about procedures and policies and setting up back of the house and all that stuff. I got a better personality when it comes with a guest, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. I'm not talking bad about this guy at all.
He has his skills. You got your skills.
He is relentless and maniacal about everything that he does, so that the restaurant can move forward in the smoothest fashion possible. I am incredibly blessed to have this guy running. He is why I'm here right now. He is why Mud Bugs is still open right now. And I am 100% speaking the truth on that. He discovered loss from 2 years ago. He discovered ways to pause right there. One of my investors, Matthias, a very good friend of mine. And about a month or so ago, a completely different mindset for me and all that, whatnot, in the dark still. And he goes, Jeff, he goes, is the Japanese or the Chinese symbol for crisis is the same as opportunity. And it was a mini little epiphanistic moment for me. And then there was other things that happened that just, okay, this is why I'm going through what I'm going through. It's like, who was it? Was it Morgan Freeman? I get to quote my first movie tonight. Morgan Freeman in Bruce Almighty, and he's talking to Jim Carrey's wife in the movie, and he goes, she goes, well, I pray for this and I pray for that. And he goes, do you think that when you pray and ask God for patience, he gives you patience? Or does he give you the opportunities in which to use that patience? And you don't have to go any more detail into that little script from a line. You know, when you ask for a cohesive family atmosphere, does he give you a cohesive family atmosphere, or does he put you in situations to respect and appreciate those moments when you come along?
Well, that's why that verse. Hey, James, can you find that? I think it's 1 Corinthians 13 he was talking about. 1 Corinthians 13, or 10:13. 1 Corinthians 10:13. Yeah, this is the verse that a lot of people use, I think, you brought this up, Jeff. A lot of people use out of context and say, God's never going to give you something that you can't handle, which I think is a load of BS. I mean, God gives us things we can't handle. What does it say?
Yeah, it says, no temptation has overcome you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. Oops. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it.
Yeah, let's talk about being tempted to sin. That's not talking about, suffering. Right. That doesn't mean God's not going to give you some kind of suffering that you. If I can handle my own suffering, I wouldn't need God. Yeah. Why would I need him? He allows us to go through things that we can't handle. Yeah. I mean, I do like that, and I think it was a military thing where when you feel like you're at the end of your rope, you can't go any further, you really have 40% left. Mm-hmm. I do like that. I do agree with that. But I do believe that there are things that comes to, I mean, with my story, losing our daughter to cancer, what parent can handle that? No one can handle that. I remember people telling me, well, God chose you to bear that burden because he knew you were strong enough. Now that you have no idea who I am, do you? Mm-hmm. I mean, I was wrecked with anxiety and depression. I should not be alive today. And I think you're right. There's things that you have gone through and may go through in the future that on your own you can't handle. But you have, that's why you look to God, and that's why you're surrounded by people who love you. I remember I went to your, I think it was the last night Tavern was open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and Kimberly were there?
Yeah, we were there. George
tried to
Torres
get in
was
real
there.
Quick beer and out. Like,
yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
There was
like 3 hours.
So many people there that loved Jeff.
Yeah.
There's so many people there that I mean, like I said, I've heard your name bounced around for 4 years, and it was all in good context, but it was so cool to see the community out and show their love. That was all for you. Mm-hmm. That was all for you, man. That was really cool to see.
It was pretty.
You gotta make him cry again.
It had to be mixed emotions that night for sure.
It was. I don't know. Probably about 11 times I broke down that night because I saw people in there that I've been talking to behind the scenes that knew it was coming.
Yeah.
'Cause I handful of people that I told before it came out, but just where it took me down, it just bled me. Yeah. In every way, financially, emotionally, physically, it just it hurt. Again, it's my responsibility. I'm in a town that can appreciate it, but I get it. They want to support, and they want something that's a little bit more tangible to them, if that makes sense as far as a restaurant goes, because some people can't grasp a concept. Some people or don't want to, and that's fine because taste is subjective. You don't want to let go of your phone. Don't let go of your phone. That's fine. I get it. I felt like a hypocrite because I was the business owner and I had the phone in my pocket, but I silenced it.
Yeah.
I think if I had just opened up, if that's a wormhole for a whole other podcast.
What's your walking away lesson that you learned? What are you doing different with mud bugs and you now with your business endeavors as a result of your experience?
I am coming more from less of a problem-solving aspect and more into a solution-based scenario. There's a big difference in that because if you're looking at the storm, you're only going to see the storm.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But if you look at how to get out of the storm, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a storm. Well, no, duh. Yeah. I'm in the storm. Okay, well, how am I going to get out that storm? And so at that point, I had more people, 95% of the people around me, because I sought advice. And I mean hundreds of people. I'm talking about 15 to 20 people of hardcore business owners and some that don't even live here in the state. They're just, I've known for years and years and years. And it was a resounding drop it. Mm-hmm. And or else, mm-hmm. Or else. Mm-hmm. It would have put Mudbugs under. Mudbugs isn't fully survived yet, but it can stand on its own. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have massive debt from Tavern, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'll get out of it. I have utmost respect for anybody that opens any kind of business, but more so for the restaurant. It is so polarizing right now with 9 billion opinions all at the same time.
Oh, you said it.
That's the hard part is if you want to do something, mm-hmm. And you do it, you put it out there. Oh, love it, but, right. and that's fine. Taste is subjective. Now, if you come in saying, "Oh, I just don't like Cajun food," well, don't come in. Yeah. I don't like where social media is, the intrusiveness.
I was going to ask, how do you handle reviews?
I don't read them anymore. Actually, I take that back. I do. I absolutely do. The middle of the roads, the 3s and the 4s, I get it. The 5s, I love them. I appreciate them. I try to respond to as many as I can, but after a point, screaming at the rain is screaming at the rain. It's just going to continue to rain. Mm-hmm. The 1-stars, I want to know if we completely missed, genuinely missed on every single aspect of somebody's business, I will invite them back in and I will take care of their food, their drinks. If there were 4 people there, bring the same 4 people back and you will eat on. I've done it many, mm-hmm. many, many times.
Mm-hmm. See, I am more interested whether I'm checking on Yelp, if I'm in Abilene looking for a place to eat, I don't know, right? I'm relying on Yelp to be my research, or if I'm looking on something on Amazon, what I care about are the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, because those are the people that I find who've actually thoughtfully reviewed things, where the 5s are the buddies and the bots, and the 1s are the malcontents who didn't like, that they got pushed off to customer service, or it's, the product is terrible because it came in a mushed up box, or whatever the case may be. So I really value the feedback that people will give, but when it is so many, right? I came in, I spent $20 in your restaurant, so you have to listen to everything I have to say about you. I'm going to fully dress you down, whatever the case may be. It blows my mind. Yeah. Right, but I think, and we were talking about this a little bit before, is how much I value the people who do share their opinion, but these days there's so damn many of them that how do you pick out the people whose opinions you actually value and know that they really care enough to be honest with you?
What we do and my team does as well is we take a look at who it is. And if it's just like one person and there's nothing else on there, typically a bot, you would think.
Right.
Or if all they do is just 1-star, 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 wherever they go, I have to look at in terms of relativity of who's it coming from, perspective, and is it really real? I mean, I've had people critique my restaurant that we don't carry those things on our menu, never have, never will.
Right.
Brands that I would never carry, Pepsi being one of those. I don't want to do Pepsi products.
Good. Pepsi sucks.
Coke is just as awful, man. It's 42 grams of sugar for 12 ounces.
Good Lord Pepsi Almighty. Sucks. I don't know anybody who likes Pepsi.
I don't either.
Michael Jackson liked Pepsi.
Yeah, till it caused heroin.
Yeah, till it caused
kids too. So.
But you also have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to take it with a grain of salt because, I tell my staff, and when I waited tables, people don't care about how many tables I have. They care about the service that they get from me, period, end of question. Mm-hmm. Unless they see some major catastrophic malfunction in the restaurant, they don't care. They're there, and I don't care what people have gone through in their life when they come and sit at my table. All I know is that I've got to give Terry Lee and your business associates and or your wife when you walk in the door the best that I could possibly give you. That is my goal. I say I treat you like you're I was a damn good server, really, really good bartender. I was one of the best servers you could possibly have. You would never eat what you wanted when you sat down at my table. You would eat what I told you to eat. By the way I described it to you.
Yeah.
You know, there was this. I waited tables. One of the best waiting experiences, restaurant experiences I've ever had in my life, is at Vespaio.
On South Congress.
On South Congress, yeah. They're the three original owners, Claude Benu, Alan Lazarus, and Scott Boland. Scotty B. The Scotty B that I have at my restaurant is after Scott. The best owners I've ever worked for in my life. He likes a spicy, smoky margarita, and that's exactly what the Scotty B is. And their chef and now owner chef, Ryan Sampson, knows more about food and is probably arguably the most talented culinarian I've ever met in my life, and what he does with an animal and how he breaks it down and respects it. It's
like an art. Huh?
I hold him in incredibly high regard, and he doesn't apologize for it. What was the original question? Where were we going? I got off on a tangent.
I wanted to know, golly, this is a
we're talking about reviews
conversation with Jeff. Yeah. I mean, your reviews, right? How do you sift out the wheat from the chaff and things that are actually valuable to you?
After a while, you just got to put your cliche again. You got to put your best foot forward. You know, all I've ever wanted to do is own a restaurant, and I've got it. And it's great for people to have a way to tell us what we're doing and how we're doing. I remember, you know, comment cards on the table at Red Lobster back in the day, my first full service job, and I just thought they were dumb. But they're going to get turned in. They're monitored. They're numbered. And so you just give the best service you can possibly give. You describe food in a way that makes them like, oh, I know where I was going with that. I had these three couples one night that I was waiting on, and had to rein that back in real quick.
Rein yourself in for a change.
Yeah,
I like that.
And we yeah, exactly. We had the full menu.
We trained him well.
Yeah, exactly. We had the full menu, then we had these different features, 12 different items we had to memorize. So it was like 2 menus in one. And so this one six top I was waiting on, it was like the husband and then the wife, and then her two girlfriends and the other husbands on the other side of the table. And the guy asked me about one of the features on the special menu I was going into. It was a steak menu. I was standing with my hands crossed like this in front of me, talking about the steak and da-da-da-da-da-da. And his wife turns around, puts her hand on my hand. She goes, I'm just going to stop you right there. She goes, I'm a vegetarian. I said, that's okay, ma'am. The cow was too. And we went right back to talking to the guy. But by the end of that dinner, not just I had her eating out of the palm of my hand, but I had her eating out of the palm of my hand. And I mean, her best friend, like, wine was coming out of her nose because she was like, don't encourage. I was like, this is my best material, and I'll be here all weekend long.
Don't forget to tip your. Oh, me.
Yeah, but you have to be able to read people and know that she can take that joke. And so just by listening when I was at another table, and of course another guy at this table wasn't listening to me because he was this traveling guy. First time I ever waited on him, his name was David. Ended up being a regular of mine when he would come through town, and he was through town often. And he was like, man, you really told her. And I was like, no, I'm just having fun, man. She'd be getting out of my hand by the end of the dinner. This is fresh when it happened. So he ordered the cioppino, which is like an Italian seafood stew. Okay. We had some shrimp and fish and clams and mussels and swordfish and whatever. And this homemade tomato brodetto, this broth that would just, oh my God. It's the best seafood stew I've ever had in my life. And comes with this garlic bread like rabbit ears sticking up on the plate. So he orders that, and he had a couple other things. And then forgetting how I had talked to this lady, just previously, I put it in front of him, and he goes, Jeff, man, this looks good. How do I eat it? I'm like, oh, wow, you opened that door? I said, well, David, on the left-hand side of the plate is this thing called a spoon. This long end thing, it's got this bowl attached to it. That's for the broth, the stuff that you can't eat with a fork. The fork is the other side on the other
and he loved it.
Oh, he's sitting there, the big smile just disappeared real quick. And like halfway through it, I'm pulling out another movie quote, halfway through it, he goes, I'm picking up on the sarcasm. I said, I should hope so, Dave, but I'm laying it on thick enough. That's from Tommy Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Where you couldn't find the thing on the map, and David Spade's talking to the gas station attendant. Yeah, I got a bunch of useless crap floating around there. But
have you ever gotten a review that just it kept you up at night?
Oh, yeah.
And how do you deal with that?
Oh, yeah. kill them with kindness laced with sarcasm and passive aggressiveness.
Wow.
Just a tinge.
Do you have an example?
I don't want to come down on it. And I worked really hard on that passive aggressive.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, good. We're pulling up
well,
the
there we
highlights.
go.
Here. This is
Just-
fantastic.
Oh, look, here we are.
I filtered it by 1-star reviews.
Yeah, thank
Look
you.
at that.
That's just great.
Let's read one of those. One of the one stars.
Let's just not.
And we'll move the table and we'll just kick you right in the junk over
Yeah.
and over again. This will be a good exercise.
Yeah, the one that there was something that was out of my control, and it was for Valentine's Day, and we had this feature that we couldn't come through on, and man, there's a lot of those, aren't there? A year ago.
Some of them are old,
Yeah,
yeah.
but just like stop at some stupid one. They're gonna give it a 1 star because it wasn't as piping hot as they would have liked it. It's just
I'll find you a goofy one.
All right, you find it while we talk.
Yeah.
How I deal with it anymore is, I mean, Sarah handles social media, but I mean, I get them all sent to my phone, or to my email, and then I'll read it, and if I think that there's validity to it, there 100% of the time there's a validity to it, and it's how some people process it in their mind, and I'm not going to say that they're wrong or right.
it's
Are
all
things
subjective,
good or bad?
right?
It's perspective and subjective, and so they're
Oh, that's
not
a long
wrong for doing that, but I
ridiculous.
think
That was his long
that was you.
reply.
that was a response.
That was your reply.
That was my reply.
Yeah, you really put your thought into the reply.
He always does. That's what I love about Jeff.
Well, I mean, I have to. They took the time, you know. Well, like right there, you do not come to this place if you believe COVID-19 is real. Sadly, we just had an extremely
Got you by name.
unfortunate.
Nice.
Blah blah blah. I remember that day. I remember that response. I remember that day. I was
Wow.
sitting 50 feet away at the end of the bar by myself.
That was like 4 or 5 years ago. You remember that?
I remember that. I remember being 3 years old at Mount Rushmore, and my dad hold me. 3 years old at Mount Rushmore.
Dang.
Family vacation. Anyway, I give them merit because
Butter noodles.
it was
1
an
star.
individual that, I mean, this guy right here.
What is that?
One
Butter-
star, and it says butter
noodles.
There's no
I'm
way
on-
I mean, what are you supposed to do
I
with
don't
that?
know.
One person has 1 star. There's no way I'm paying these prices. Well, you did, and that is not a review of the place.
Yeah.
These things just piss me off.
You know,
This one just says butter noodles, and I just atmosphere got 3 of 5, service 1 of 5, food. See, I reviews are fine. The social aspect of it and just being exposed to, like I said, 9 billion opinions. Are there 9 billion people going to come to my restaurant? Wow, that would be fantastic.
It's a lot of expectations.
It's a lot of expectations. We do our best to have a very cross range of food on the menu.
Right.
And a lot of people think that Cajun means spicy. It just means flavorful. We can amp it up all you want, add jalapenos and crushed red pepper and cayenne all day long. But if I had nothing but extremely hot food on my menu, I wouldn't get it. But the tie hard, send my mouth to Dante's inner circle of hell hot people. I want everybody to come in there. So we've, this is a little bit of the genius or short-sightedness, I say it on myself, but genius of Justin is that we've got our bushwhacker machine, And but now it's just the vanilla base to bushwhacker, and we have the alcoholic blend of the bushwhacker on the side. So that opens up to non-alcoholic and boozy shakes. We've got a bourbon caramel that is ridiculous. It is so very good. With cookies and cream, it's cookies and cream.
Yeah.
We have a chocolate and peanut butter with a peanut butter whiskey, and peanut butter chunks in it as well. And then there's another one we're doing.
Dang,
the
what time do y'all
bushwhacker.
close tonight?
We're at 8 o'clock, so we'll be squeezing it in. We can get an order.
I think I know a guy, though.
Yeah.
Whip something up for you.
But we've brought some old favorites back, like the Devil with the Shotgun. The Pontchartrain is back. We dialed it back. Doing one thing, years and years ago, I asked Tito about, like some co-branding or something with the Bloody Mary mix, and the best no I've ever gotten in my life, and he just looks at me and puts his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "Jeff, I just do one thing very well." And
There's something to that.
and I connected with him not too long ago, And he goes, Jeff, I said I made the decision to, when I met up with him to close the tavern. And he looks and he goes, Jeff, just make this an opportunity to do your one thing very well.
So when I met you, and I asked, okay, well, what, and kind of go along with what he asked a while ago. You told me something that, I'm going to closing down the tavern, but that means I'm going to beef up mud bugs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would have this, oh my gosh, I'm closing the tavern, I'm a failure, just forget it all, and just, I'm sure you had temptations to just dive deep into the darkness that you were talking about earlier. But you had to make a choice. And your choice was...
you shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's like I said, hindsight's 20/20. If I had to do it all over again, void of everything I know, I'd do it exactly the same way. Because with the information I had at that moment, that seemed to me to do the right thing. Maybe I should have sought counsel before I did a couple of those things, but I met somebody during this whole thing that, if anything else, I'm glad I went through everything that I've gone through, that I'm going through because of that person. The most kind soul I've ever met in my life. And I'm not going to say names or anything.
Well, it's okay. I like you too.
Love you, Chad.
Yeah, I will tell you that, I am blessed more than I could even try to put into words. How the gratitude that I have for you, a very fresh new friend in my life that, and I enjoy your company. I really enjoy your counsel.
Likewise. I was telling them, you were asking me earlier before he got here, said, if you talked with Jeff, because he likes to talk, or we can ask him, man, I feel like Jeff and I are like this now. We've had so many talks.
Yeah. And your wife, I just adore to death. She's just super sweet.
Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah. She's great.
As far as wives go.
But
yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it's if I knew now, or if I knew then what I know now, I'd do things way differently. I probably wouldn't do it.
But I just like that positive, okay, this happened. Closed down tavern. It hurts, it's hard. I wish it wouldn't have happened, but it did. All right, here's the positive out of this. I'm going to beef up mud bugs better than it was before. I heard you say that.
Yeah.
That was powerful. That was powerful to have that kind of mindset.
The alternative is just not fun.
What would be the alternative?
Just to
quitting,
throw your hands up, walk away.
Well,
I've never quit anything in my life. And I would say, but it was tavern, whatever you want to call it, failure. It didn't work out.
It's not a failure. It's just an opportunity to learn and grow. That's it.
And it's like Matthias said, I think the Chinese symbol for crisis is the same one for opportunity. So the opportunity that has opened up for me is to go into mud bugs, be present, shake the hands, kiss the babies, talk to my regulars. And I don't mean that in a flippant political politician style way.
Sure.
When I shake somebody's hand, I look them in the eyes, I shake their hand. I hope every day, every single day, just one person comes into mud bugs. I've had that mindset since we opened it. Just one person comes in, and that's the best experience I've ever got. That's why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. That's the experience that I want people to have in my restaurant every time. Am I going to hit it? Not even close every time. I want it to where they're going to come back and go, okay, man, we missed on this in their mind. Mm-hmm. We missed on this and this, and maybe on our mind, oh, we missed on that. Mm-hmm. I found somebody accidentally got overcharged for some at Mud Bugs the other day. And I know a person that knows that person and asked them to reach out and contact me directly. They said, we didn't even notice that we had such a great time. The food was so good. We're not really, receipt picker partners. Yeah. And I said, well, I noticed it because I went by the table a couple of times because our mutual friend was there and the other friend picked up the tab. And so I went back and I was going to do a little discount or whatever. And I said, I don't remember seeing that anywhere on the table. And so, this was after the fact. I gave him a discount, and then I went back and looked at it again. There was a little bit more they shouldn't have had on their tab. And so I made that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like I went to the bank the other day and got change for the bar drawer. Excuse me, and she accidentally gave me $200 extra. Could I use $200 extra bucks? Well, of course I could. That's where the temptation comes in. You know, never ever for a second did I think, $200. Yeah, no. Yeah. I was counting it out, and I was like, oh, holy crap. So I got my other manager, Sarah. She was there. I was like, I want you to verify how much you counting. It should be this, and it was this. And she was like, yep, there's this amount. And so I said, well, I'll be right back. And I took the whole thing back and went back there and was like, you gave me $200 extra. And she was like, oh my gosh. And she was like, thank you so much. We'd have been here forever tonight figuring where it went out. Finally would have got down to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Hey, but then again, the other day I went and I got money out. Well, they shorted me. And so I went right back up to the whole thing, and she was like, oh, you're right. I had this other cash thing here I forgot about, da-da-da-da.
A new bank.
So, yes. Yes. I'm going to chase down a new bank. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
So you got the menu up? I want to see the menu. You get, what's your favorite meal on the menu?
Oh, man.
What's your go-to? Because you eat there a lot yourself, right?
Yeah. Right, the soup of the day right now is, you have an old menu. The soup of the day right now is you can go to our website and get it, dude.
Yeah, I was
Peace, Love, and
I was trying to
Crawfish.
get it.
Just go to the website.
I had it open a minute.
It's uploaded.
Oh.
And the menus at the top, you can click out of those too. So if you go to the dinner menu, please hit starters. I think it scrolls all the way through. You just start at one, it goes to the other. So, yeah. So the starters, we brought the Devil with a Shotgun back. I don't think it's on there.
No,
that looks
the
good.
knobs are arguably probably the best selling thing on the menu. The New Orleans barbecue shrimp. It's
my
like
favorite.
Crack.
That's mine.
It's my longest running
the Brussels
recipe.
sprouts.
Oh, everybody loves
those.
those.
Fantastic.
My wife loves those too.
The gator bites are really good. You can get them fried or blackened.
That's become a recent thing, isn't it? Like
The
Brussels,
gator bites?
no, the Brussels sprout. Nobody liked Brussels sprouts until.
We've had those since day
Kinda
one.
bougie.
Oh, have y'all?
Oh yeah.
Sprouts are bougie.
I don't know.
like
That's
them.
maybe because where I'm from.
Well, it's
gator
old
love.
things done new ways. You know, my mom, I had gag reflexes when my mom would make me eat Brussels sprouts because it's just boiled little bitty cabbages. Like,
Yeah, that's what it is.
My dog wouldn't even eat them. That's how awful they were. Now you fry them and throw them in a balsamic reduction with some raisins, candy pecans, spiced pecans, onions, some bell peppers, and top it with some freshly julienne Granny Smiths. Come on now.
God, I'm so hungry now.
Devil with a Shotgun. That right there is. We put it on the menu. We went through 2 cases of oysters our first night and sold out in one night.
See, I'm not an oyster fan, but I would try that.
You'll try those.
Yeah.
That I promise you.
Yeah.
I've eaten them there. He made me.
They're cooked. They're cooked oysters.
So we have our Cajun butter that we make in house.
Okay.
And we put like a tablespoon on top of that, and we broil those. So it comes out, the butter is just bubbling. It's just hot.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
I definitely won't eat raw oyster. You ever had raw oysters?
Oh yeah.
You like raw
love
oysters?
raw oysters, yeah.
Really? Yeah, not me.
Cracked in Tabasco and horseradish.
It's like yeah, that's what it's like for me.
There was a place in College Station, some boat type of name, but it was in Bryan actually, and 50-cent oysters on Monday nights, and an employee of ours ate 100 of them.
No way.
Like, good
100
God
oysters.
Almighty. Yeah,
I hated to. What his next morning was like.
Well, that's just
Slippery.
Yeah. Quick.
No, thank you. I mean, it's
called in sick.
I don't know if I really have a favorite on the menu. The shrimp and grits is fantastic.
I love shrimp.
That's one of my oldest recipes.
That's what that is right there. Yeah.
And I didn't come up with shrimp and grits. That thing's been around way predates me. The Grateful Shrimp is very good.
Did y'all come up with that?
I did, yeah. People ask me why I call it the Grateful Shrimp, and I said, well, you'd be grateful too if you were stuffed with crab and wrapped with bacon. But actually, technically, it's really my buddy Scotty B. He's the biggest Grateful Dead fan I've ever met in my life. So Grateful Shrimp, Grateful Dead. Yeah, so he has 2 mentions on.
I've had that just the other day. Last time I had lunch with you there, the meatloaf.
The meatloaf is really good. It's mom calling good, as I call it.
Yeah.
That's the OCD. It's a voodoo seafood cream sauce. That's the old preparation, even though it was very good. It was never really consistent, so we just redesigned the sauce for that dish, and it's spectacular. The Big Sexy is back, or it's the original one. The Pontchartrain is back. The Butter Boy, the price is wrong on that. Oh. Is that right on the website?
Yeah, it's on the website.
I did a screenshot that for me and email it to me because that price is off. Thanks for doing that.
How did you come up with the name Mudbugs? I mean,
well,
you lived in Louisiana, so you know Louisiana calls them crawfish.
Yeah, crawfish, crayfish, mud puppies. They have many different names.
Yeah.
Mud bugs. Well, so my favorite job outside of my restaurants I've ever had was at Copeland's, and they're based in New Orleans.
Oh yeah,
I worked there on and off for like 8 years. I left for a real small stint for a few months, and then went back. And Joey Salter Formaggio is my general manager. One of the best GM I've ever worked for in my life. And I just started researching, what's oxymoronic, because I'm that guy. I want you to walk into a place and it's going to be a shithole of a restaurant and go, what is going on here?
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly, it worked. Because like I said, we moved here October 2020, so it took some time before we went there to eat. Now, I remember looking up, because I'm from Louisiana, go to a Cajun place, I see mud bugs. I was like, that's probably some hole in the wall. Walk in, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
The atmosphere doesn't fit the name. It was. Exactly. It took me out. It was like broadside.
It was lowercase because for me, you just can't take things seriously, and that's something that I forgot this past year. I really do, because it's easy to critique from outside the storm. You can fly through the storm and feel somebody's rockiness, and then you can just leave it. The storm is the storm, and that's where I forgot. And I had to reel it back in, but it's not necessarily that I remembered, but more so the people that have come into my life, like you, my buddy Jake Padilla, the way I watch James from afar, when he talks, because I'm really not on Facebook anymore unless somebody says you gotta watch this, and I see James driving around in his truck and. Or if he gets by me, hey, that was me that just passed that you didn't wave to again, and again, and again.
I get zoned out, man. I'm listening to a podcast or something.
My business partner, Mona, and her husband, Richard, are rocks in my life. There's so many people I could thank that I'm grateful for because of last year. And so what I'm going through is something that this next year I'm going to be sitting back going, okay, that's why, and that's why this happened, and that's why that happened. I'm firmly convinced. I think I know some things this next year are going to be fantastical in my life, and for Buda as a whole. The new neighbors coming in, like I said, but more so than that, I believe that there's going to be a renewed feeling of community coming into the core of what makes Buda. Everything from Willie's Joint all the way down to Mudbugs and Cajun Joint.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's a more eclectic collection of what we do.
Yeah.
In this community, you have, not just Willie's Joint itself, but even what's on it. It's a great honky tonk where a lot of music, a lot of live acts play. They have different features all the time. Massive parking, which is very coveted in this area. It also is the parking lot for the best coffee I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I want to shout out right now to Ron and Megan Watkins of Embrace the Grind. Hands down, the best coffee you will ever put across your taste buds. Ever, ever, ever. They're passionate about. They might even be more passionate about coffee than I am about Mudbugs, and that's a hard topper.
Yeah.
But they remember what you drink and what your name is after one visit. I don't know how they do it. I forget your name all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. But I won't forget your face.
I'll just forget your last name.
Yeah. What's that?
I'll just forget your last name.
Yeah, Parker.
So I got one more question. I don't know if you have anything else. If you were to meet yourself 20 years ago, what advice would you?
Your younger me, huh?
Yeah, the younger me question. What advice would you give?
I think I have a couple of times, and I would say, do exactly what got you to where you are, standing in front of yourself 40 years from now or 20 years from now. I would say do exactly what you're going to, but be mindful more so of the lesson and not be more so mindful of the end result of that lesson instead of really the lesson itself, what you're going through to get to it. You know what I'm saying? The noise and all that around it. And maybe, I would say maybe not take things so personally, but
it's hard.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, because I put everything into it. So for me to go back and tell my younger self, if you do this thing differently, this is the outcome that you'll have. But, and here's the flip side, there's the catch-22 to this. I may not have ever met James.
You got to be mindful of the whole butterfly effect, right?
Straight up.
Yeah. Are you because you're changing your entire personality. If you're not taking the feedback from others so personally, positive, negative, whatever, that's not in your DNA. And so you would be wishing to be a different person. You know, so that's kind of the danger in wishing that we were, had stepped left when we stepped right or whatever.
Well, it's almost like you're saying, you would tell yourself, don't be afraid of the future failures. I absolutely live in the moment. That's one thing that I forgot. And that was a lesson that this person that I met through all of this has really taught me, be still and hear me. That's God talking, but it's God talking through things that are happening in your life, and not necessarily a booming voice from the sky or a burning bush or something like that. The
subtleties, the still ones.
Yeah.
And because you're right, it's that butterfly effect. If you change one thing, you've changed everything, every little bitty thing. I gave this analogy at your house a couple weeks ago. Let's just say, Terry, you love coffee, right? Okay. Let's just say that Embrace the Grind has posted that they can't shut down today because they had beans shipped a week late, and I think they missed a couple of days. So, man. Or says, let's just say me, since I know I go to Embrace the Grind. And I'm like, oh, well, crap. I can't go to Embrace the Grind today. So that literally has changed history for the entire planet.
Yes.
It literally did. Coffee. It is chaos theory. It's true. And it works 100% of the time. If you change one little thing, you change everything. And so instead of me taking or going straight on 967 to go downtown, I've got to take a right tucked behind, was it CVS right there, and go through the loathsome Starbucks, and it's not, they're not an evil, and they're local kids that work there and whatnot. Sure. I'm not saying that Starbucks is evil. I'm not. But it's not a home-based business. Yeah. It's not a Buda business. And so my whole life has changed. Well, unbeknownst to me, so that morning, if I would have gone my normal route, if they would have gotten their coffee bean delivery in and they would have been able to roast them, they were just business as normal. And I'm going on 967. Well, this guy pulls out of Garlic Creek and not seeing me or not really paying attention, and then T-bones me as I'm my family, his family, everybody that's driving on 967 at that moment is backed up to the Mill and Grain or to Main Street. Every single person, their life, they're not where they're normally should be. They're where they're supposed to be. Because we don't know where we're supposed to be until we get there. You see what I'm saying? I knew I was coming here. But if I didn't get here via an accident or I got behind driving Miss Daisy or whatever it was, that's my normal expectation. I'm expecting to be there. But I have no idea where I'm going to be from day to day.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. If you have a crystal ball, how boring would life be? Because then you're avoiding things to get to it. Then you're just creating the thing that you tried to avoid.
Well, it's like we were talking this morning. It's trusting God through every bit of it. He's saying, just trust me. I got this. well, this hurts. I mean, I'm failing. Yeah, but like the saying goes, fail forward. I think it's a failure if we don't learn from it.
Yeah.
I think
failing is if you quit. When you quit, that's when failure starts. And I've never been. I mean, I grew up, Baptist, and parents were pretty strict in growing up and whatnot, but I've never been a very religious person. I felt too controlled by it. Why can't I do this? Well, that's what it says. Well, why does it say it to do it that way?
Mm-hmm.
Never get a straight answer, and just taught circular reasoning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I get older and okay, there's that search for something. You're searching for identity, searching for the career path you're supposed to be, searching for God. What is it we're looking for? We're looking for ourself. It's crazy how things work out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't know.
Yeah.
What would you have done? What talk to yourself 20 years ago? Same question. What would you have told
me 20 years ago?
Earlier, Chad?
Oh gosh, that's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Well, give us the 30-second elevator pitch answer.
Oh man, what would I
we
tell
could expand on it
myself? Do what I'm confident what God has wired me to do. And
that's what you would tell yourself.
That's what I tell myself. Do what I'm confident that God has wired me to do. And seek to please Him and please Him only. I'm a people pleaser by nature. I want people to like me. I hope you guys like me. If you don't like me, we're not doing this anymore. But yeah, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
Had a
Short
lot of
answer, I wouldn't.
Like changes in my life. And
I wouldn't change anything. Because I don't know what I know now, and that's the beauty of life.
Yeah, it is. You're right. That's a good
really
point.
is. And there's been moments over the past 2 years that I am immensely proud of, and super happy that I went through those moments. And if it wouldn't have been for one moment, that would have led to that, to that.
Yeah.
And so things that I'm getting ready to do at Mudbugs, like I never had a thought to do a bar on the deck. I just never thought of that. I thought about putting fire pits out there, but
fire.
Do we really need it?
Right.
But then I look at Willie's joint. They got fire pits and people around it. I look at Water to Wine fire pits. Look at Nate's fire pits. I'm just late to the game on doing what I should have done. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's that other thing. So, but now my landlord's giving me permission, and we're going to wrap that up. Excuse me. I'm getting everything I'm getting all my paperwork together to get a bar built on the deck at Mudbugs, and a couple of fire pits on the deck there as well. And I think that'll give a lot of exposure to that outdoor area. People, oh, you're waiting for your order to be ready at Water to Wine. Oh, you're waiting for your to-go order at Roxy's. Oh, the guys are going to sit at the bar at Mudbugs while the girls go shopping at Ellipsis, or go to the florist or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's going to draw more attention to. It's not just Mudbugs. It's going to help Mudbugs.
It's for all the surrounding stuff.
Yeah, it's for the whole Mill and Grain. I mean, the Dodie and her son have just done such an amazing job at what the culture that they want there.
Right.
And I love it. The expansion they're doing there. I think they're adding more parking or something back there.
It's a really neat corner.
It really is.
A really neat spot.
It really, really is. And I joke all the time, if I had won that $1.2 billion thing, I'd have bought downtown Buda, except for the Mill of Grain, but I'd have put a hefty grant in her pocket.
Yeah.
Because I adore that family. They're all about the community.
Yeah.
And they've been incredibly patient with me as a tenant. How they helped out with COVID and going through that. And then, with the financial difficulties that we face, they're very patient. A lot of patient people waiting on me for this and that. But I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I've met some incredible people because I went through it.
I heard someone say, no one has ever said, man, the last 3 years have been so easy and smooth, and I've learned so much. That, no one's ever said that.
You learn when it's hard.
We learn when it's hard.
You learn when it's hard.
We learn through the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's that saying that says, hard time create strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times, hard times create strong men.
It's just a cycle.
And I like to say that I'm, what's that?
Where do you think we are right now?
That's a good question.
I know, this is where I wholeheartedly believe where we are right now, that we have had hard times that are creating strong men.
I agree.
I am a much stronger man than I was 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months ago. I'm much wiser. I'm a little bit more of a cynic, which I hate, mainly towards professional sports because they deserve it.
That's what happens when eyes get open to the truth, too.
But 100%. And it hasn't changed how I feel about Buda. It hasn't changed the love that I have for every single person. There's not a person that I know in my life that I am leaving out of this statement, but I love every single person in this town. People I've worked with, people that I've just crossed paths with, people I've done business with. I love them all with everything that I have. And why I may not, be 100% in love with some of the things that has happened, I'm a better person for it. I hope that other people see that in me. I don't think anybody else is broken. I don't think there's anything wrong with anybody else.
Right.
Right. I'm grateful that God has made me strong enough to get through this, because, man, there are just some times there was one time I was at the edge of my driveway, and it was a really, really rough week, and I was just sitting in my truck, had a full tank of gas, and I was just going to take off and leave. Just gone.
Leave it all behind.
Just gone. Just gone. I was like, I just cannot handle it anymore. Not that I don't want to adult, not that I don't want to do restaurants, but it just like, the metaphor that I've come up with is I felt like I was log chained to a tree and somebody took some barbed wire, wrapped around a couple baseball bats and beat the crap out of me. And I'm just tired of feeling that way. I'm tired of being emotional when I talk about what's happened.
That's a very symbolic description to the beating that Jesus got.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus.
No, not either. But when you said that,
how many lightning bolts coming through here on this? Whoa! Don't wish that on me, there, James.
The pre-hanging on the whole walk to. He was beaten.
I don't compare that. There were decisions,
but just that he understands.
Figuratively. I mean, it's the weight of the world. And
it all started with and starts with me. I'm the one that came with the concept. I'm the one that wanted to put it in that location, or I was one that I let put in that location, and I'm the one that put the theme together. I'm the one that wanted to put the culture together. Had my name on it, and so I overextended myself. I did that to me. Nobody else did that to me. I take full responsibility for it, and that's the way I would do it again. That's how I'm built, But what that has taught me is that I know I don't have to do it all. I want to be involved in everything, but like I said, with Justin coming on now, he has taken so much everything off my plate. And I can focus on shaking the hands and being out there and running food and bussing tables and doing what I did when we had the full staff when we first opened up. And that's what I want to keep doing. I'm not doing anything else at least a couple of years. 2 projects in Kyle that I have right now are they're stalled right now. Just as a lot of new construction is. And that I'm okay with that. If I didn't do either one, I'd be okay with that. Because I'm breathing, I'm smiling right here, right now. I'm good. I'm okay. And my friend Michelle that cuts my hair, Michelle Childress, I'll throw her a shout out. Hair House. Haas, if you're watching this, Michelle, laugh at me later. I was in my Bronco at the tavern one day, And she was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, well, I'm just waiting on you to show up, cut my hair, and da-da-da. And just a little bit down about, the tavern, because I knew that it was not going to survive. And she just looks at me, and this is another person that I'm very, very thankful for in my life. I mean, I've known her for years. One of the very first friends I made when I moved to Buda. She goes, Jeff, whatever happens to that, this is going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And as simple as that is for somebody to tell you that, it just goes to show. I mean, her and her husband Kane, I just love them both very much. Kane is just so easygoing and just laid back, and Michelle is much of the same.
That's a huge It's a huge truth, though.
It really is.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to be more than okay. I've survived. The restaurant has survived. I've got the people. I've got Justin. I've got Sergio. I've got Sarah that gets the word out there on social media and does the events. I've got my staff. I've got my next door neighbors. I've got my landlord. I've got Buda. I've got God. And it's people that will watch us go. I've never been a very religious person. I've always believed in God. I don't think God's this old white man sitting on a cloud somewhere. God is the universe. He is everywhere and everything all at once. And everything is just breathing in and out. And I've been breathing in. It's time to exhale and get all this 20, 23, 24 out of me. It's done. It's over. And life is split up into three parts. You have depression because of the past, anxiety over the future, and we forget to live in the most important part, which is right now, right here. And that was the biggest weight that I put down. So I'm worrying about something that's not even here yet. I don't even know what's going to happen yet. And so put that down, and I put down animosity that I have, in my heart to whoever, and make mud bugs as best as I possibly can. Y'all, this is what I do. It's just, I want to mess up, and I want to mess up again and again. Hopefully not as monumentally as I have, But Tito told me one time. He goes, "You show me a businessman that said he's never failed, and I'll show you a damn liar." As we are a sum of all of everything that we've done, and I hope I don't fail again. I'll have many failures all through my life, but I hope I don't fail on this level, because it's just I'll be able to survive it a lot better. I just don't like failure. I just don't. And if I miss it with forgetting to take somebody's birthday dessert off, that's a failure to me. I'm all about the win-win. If I'm winning on the scale at somebody else's loss, I will work feverishly to reverse that. I would rather lose. I want to come out, but I would rather it be right here. Yeah. And that's, you come in and you go, oh man, Jeff, your staff last time, you know me, I'm not going to. Terry's never complained one time in my restaurant, and he's pulled me aside a couple of times and go, hey man, this is what happened, just to let you know, and da-da-da-da. And it's not something where, I'm butthurt because he didn't get his way or he wasn't told about something. It was a legitimate, hey, this is a little correction that I see, and if he sees it, then it can happen to somebody else.
Right.
So it's butter noodles.
Those are damn butter noodles, man.
Every time.
I know. You were the butter noodle dude.
You got to do something about them.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, cool, man.
I just want the community to realize that and know, man, come in and talk.
Yep.
And if there's, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to listen to you every time that you want to say something to me. It's like this lady last Valentine's Day just crucified me online about, the lobster and the steak thing because we didn't get the right cut in, and my chef at the last minute made a decision that he thought, I guess, was for the best of the restaurant. And if the quality's not there, then I'll stand behind him. And but she eviscerated me. I invited her in for dinner and sat down right across from her. And she was real sweet about everything, and I was professional as I thought. Her husband sat there and didn't say a whole lot. couple of things.
He's probably embarrassed.
And then they said, the other time. Well, this is the thing. The thing that she goes, the other times that I've been here, everything was great. I said, so you have been here before? And she goes, yeah. And I was about, how many times? Oh, about a dozen times. And I said, how were those visits the other dozen times? Oh, everything was great. I said, did you one time go on and tell everybody on Facebook how great it was? And she was like, no. And I said, but you waited for the one time for something out of my control before you went on there and just brought me down. And people, 2 comments on this. This is when I stopped really.
I think they're called Karens.
I won't say her name.
Okay. Is her name Karen?
I'll remember. No, one Karen.
Okay.
One Karen. But man, there's 4 Karens out there. There's some really nice Karens out there.
I'm sure there are some nice Karens. I don't even know how that got.
It's a character on some show.
But some people just like to complain. That's their.
I guess. I don't mind that though. But come and talk to me. Come and talk to a manager that's on shift for that shift.
Mm-hmm. It's how it's how you complain.
Yeah, be constructive in it. All I want to do is provide a space for you to have a great experience eating good food, provided by a staff that gives a damn, that cares about what they do. And I've got a really good staff. They're young, but my management team has been in the business for years, and they're shaping them into young, caring staff.
Yeah.
And that's missing these days.
Yeah.
People forgot what work ethic is like. And I'm fortunate because I've got a lot of them are kids. They're younger in the business, but they care, and I see it in their demeanor. My cooks are automatic, but being a business owner is one thing. Being a restaurant business owner, it's so in the spotlight 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
People say, restaurants have a hard time making it. Businesses in general. Mm-hmm. And we're not polarized. 85% of businesses period, just don't make it after a year or 2.
Yeah.
And in the restaurant industry, 85% fail after the first year. And I think about 20% of that fail after you make it to 3 years, you're pretty good. You make it to 5, you're really good. Yeah. We're coming up on 5. And we're right there. I implore Buda to come out and spend their money locally up and down Main Street. Start off and have, still to this day, in my opinion, probably the best frozen margarita in town is Willie's Joint. I love that margarita. They just have the right combination for it. Jake's, best pizza. The Pizza Pit Stop, in the top 3 best pizzas I've ever had. And I'm not joking. The guy is, other than being one of my very best friends, he's one of the smartest human beings I've ever met. And he is methodical and just precise about his pizza. His dough, he makes it himself. And the way that he puts it out there, it is just, it's a work of art.
It's called Jake's?
Jake's Pizza Pit Stop. It's in Amici's old trailer, but it's behind where the tavern used to be. It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're sitting on the deck of where the tavern is and you look to the north, it's right there. It says Jake's Pizza Pit Stop.
Yeah.
Hands down the best. Hands down the best. And then you've got Main Street. Main Street's really, the way that it's opened up, the space. I know it's been that way for a while now, but it's inviting. Got the big horseshoe bar. The pizza's really, really good. You've got Meridian and Zoe Market, and I absolutely adore Travis and Noah. I think they're just exemplary people.
We need to get them in here.
When they post, they post such amazingly lovely things about their family, about the community. They're as heart as you could get. You have Tamara and Travis that have taste, and it's just beautiful. I love that treehouse deck that they have in the back, and that back bar, and what they do with cocktails and the food there. They're successful for a reason. I haven't had the pleasure yet to go into McAdoo's. My buddy Richard and Richard.
McAdoo's. What kind of?
Or not McAdoo's, Macoco's. I'm sorry, McAdoo's is in New Braunfels.
Yeah,
I've not been to Macoco's yet.
It's like kind of like a seafood Mexican,
like Cali.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. You have Brooklyn's, which has been a staple in downtown forever. You have Nate's again. That's Richard Verigi and
got the donut shop. What great salt of the earth people, man. I
don't go. I've never been.
Are you kidding me?
I've never been there. I don't eat donuts, dude.
He's watching his weight.
They're phenomenal. The best.
I watch my weight.
They would see us get out of the car, and she would have it all in the bag ready when we got to the counter.
Yeah, they are steady as I'll get out. They're great food.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure I'll have one, but I don't eat donuts. So I'm not the biggest donut.
Yeah, this was when the kids were little. We would go on Sunday mornings before church.
But
you got the cigar vault.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I just go in there to. I mean, I smoke a cigar about once every 6 months to remind myself why I don't smoke cigars.
Yeah. So you taste it, for the rest of the week.
But I know exactly where to go. Yeah. I go into the cigar vaults on the left hand side of the Padrones box press. So it's like $16-17. One of the best cigars I've ever had. Yeah. And the guys are super chill and laid back.
Oh, I love those guys.
I go in there, but I can't sit in there because I'm already saturated when I walk.
Well, they got a great backyard area with fire pits and live music. I think on.
But you have Dane at Water to Wine, which I mean, just look at what he's doing. You know, he has the whole franchise rights for the United States.
Oh yeah.
He's very passionate about.
He's got a
business in general.
Mind. Yeah, he does.
But what he does really, really well, and I really appreciate that. And then at Mudbugs, you know, I'm very, very proud of that. I love Main Street. I love this town. I'm selling my house. You know, I'm getting out of Ruby Ranch. I'm downsizing. Move in downtown Buda somewhere. I don't know exactly where yet. Doesn't mean I really want to be more hands-on, you know, in the political scene because I'm not a political person. But it gets me closer to my coffee. You know. But I don't know. Next question. What's next?
How big is your house you're selling? What's the?
It's 2,200 square feet. It's 2.6 acres, 3 bed, 2 bath, in Ruby Ranch.
Yeah. You looking it up?
Yeah, I had it up the other day.
It's a great house.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house. I've been cranking that fireplace every night. I haven't turned my AC or my heater on. I can't tell you months.
Yeah.
I did turn the heater on the other night because I wasn't getting the heat all the way through the house.
Sure.
But I just cranked the fireplace on and just fell asleep on the sofa in front of the fireplace.
I want to convert our gas fireplace to a wood fireplace, but I hear that's kind of a thing. Like it's.
You have a chimney or no?
Convert it to wood?
Yeah, I got a chimney. Yeah, I want to convert it to wood.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't just throw logs in there.
That's the house right there? Is
really?
The chimney has to be able to take fire. There's this gas line that's in there. I don't know.
Oh.
I thought it'd be easy too, but a quick Google search said
that's nice.
You're gonna burn your damn house down. So I said, well,
I really wanted to paint those cabinets, but it just didn't.
I like the wood look.
Somebody else took these pictures.
What's that?
Somebody else took these pictures. It wasn't me.
Oh yeah, it came with the package. Sorry, bro.
I'm just kidding.
Got a little gem in there too.
Yeah,
a little spare.
Yeah, I do like a wood fireplace better than gas.
But I don't know. As difficult as life is, that's kind of the beauty of it. Because when you get to the point where, okay, wow, I can coast a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not coasting right now. I'm working diligently. I'm in my lane, so to speak, with Mudbugs, because like I said, I've trusted Justin to run it, and he's doing it near flawlessly, a lot better than I would be able to do it right now, because, you know, he's that relief pitcher, so to say. I've done as much as I can, and he's coming in and he's saved my life, saved my business, and I trust him, and he has faith in other people that I've already trusted, and that just reaffirms and strengthens, you know, my willingness to, sit back.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think you will ever coast. No, that is not in your DNA. I don't, fault people. I mean, if that's, you want to get to a spot and like, this is what I'm trying to build. So when I'm X, I can kind of hit this. That's just not in your DNA though.
No.
And that's almost kind of a dangerous spot for you, because then people kind of, you start tinkering, you meddle a little bit. So coasting could be dangerous for some folks.
Yeah, no, it's not really going to be coasting the next few months. There's still a lot of work to do, but we're very much headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
And a big part of that, and I'll always defer back to the community, because the community saved mud bugs when we first opened up. We weren't the only game in town, but I think that we did it a little bit better than everybody else. Or there's really nobody else here at the time. So we were there, and we did it consistently enough. The product was always good, and the guests never got to see the turmoil and inner workings of, the not so fun stuff of the restaurants, and what happens when an order doesn't fully come in, or when we were committed to this and that didn't happen, or 3 of my 4 hostesses all got sick because they all went out together. And oh my gosh, and we've got 200 covers on the books tonight. That's just restaurant stuff. That's all day, everyday restaurant. And you being in it as long as 41 years like I have, I can't see myself doing anything different. Yep. The only reason I do Mudslinger is because it's kind of in the realm. It's in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
We had Mudslinger still very much going. I've kind of put it on the shelf for right now. I've got enough product with our distributor that we can get through what we need to get through while I'm still focused on mud bugs getting back to where it needs to be. And when I see those results on my reports, then that's when I know. And I've got a couple very, very poignant talks to have with some outside people of Mudslinger, putting proposals in front of a couple people to perpetuate growth.
Sure.
I mean, massive growth. And we've already taken a small step towards that. But I want to make a really big pitch to somebody here soon and see if we can't get that to be magnanimous growth. Because I want better for this town. I want more I want to contribute to this town. I want my manufacturing facility to be in Buda. It'll be industrial and commercial at the same time. And I want people to know that when I say that, I let go of the tavern. I could have limped along, much to the behest of the closest ones around me telling me to get out. But I value them too much to have kept that weight around us. I let that go so mud bugs would survive.
Yep.
And that's what I want. What I want to come out of this, is growth for me, to see how I can do things better. Right now that thing is mud bugs, but I want the community to realize that they will not see anybody work harder than to bring back mud bugs to its, I say bring it back to its glory days. It's not even 5 years old. Mm-hmm. We're coming into it. But I think maybe that I lost focus a little bit, and now I've hyper-focused on bringing mud bugs to a line out the door every single night. I want to have that bar on the deck, and it's going to have more visibility. I want to get into a collective of all the downtown businesses and get a sign put up on 35. I think that would help out quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I want to be a liaison between small businesses in the city and find out, why does it necessarily have to take this long, or why can we do this, or not really bucking the city so much, because they have their policies and they have their procedures. I think some are archaic, but that's just me. That's my vantage point, and not everybody's going to go through the same processes that I did. So I'm not going to bash the city. In fact, I go the opposite direction and say I think Micah Growl's doing an amazing job as our city manager. I love Lee. I think he's a fantastic mayor. All the council people, Monica and Evan, and Paul's no longer, but Paul's a good friend. I believe that the city of Buda is in really good hands. I think with a lot more diving into how cities are run and stuff, we can make it even better. I've seen a huge difference in chamber activity since Monica's been a part of it, and I love Monica to death. Her and her husband Ty are just amazing people. They're just, well, he's not all smiles because he never smiles, but she more than makes up for it. She's a bright walking sunshine. But I just want Buda to know that I am all Buda. I'm Mr. Buda Spirit. I'm not going out for any contest or anything, but I want Buda to know that I absolutely adore this town, and I listen to people when their concerns are brought to me about, experiences they had in the restaurant, or they ask my opinion on things. That is humbling when somebody asks my opinion on things, because I just tell everybody I'm just. Somebody asked what I was doing when we were just sweeping out mud bugs, and I said, I'm opening up a restaurant. Oh, good, you're going to put Brooklyn's out of business. And that's just the 180 reaction I want from anybody. Yeah. I said, that's the wrong way to look at that. I'm attraction. Mm-hmm. I'm attraction for the area. Brooklyn's is attraction for me. I know Brooklyn Robertson. He's a really nice guy. He's brilliant. I know these people. They're friends of mine. I live in this community, and I want what's best for it. So if anybody, I read a comment after we closed, and then something else closed down. Then the last thing I saw on Facebook really is like, oh, Mudbugs is probably next. And I was disheartening that anybody would have that thought. And it's not that I'm, a success and I want to be up on this pedestal. I just want to provide a place for people to come. And it just happened to be here in Buda, and that's it. Come in and you have a great time. Tell me you had a great time. If you had something that we can, through an experience that you can improve or that we can improve on, tell me at that moment. I don't need 9 billion other people telling me how to because that one comment's going to get split 50-50 down the middle, how they feel about that comment.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me know if you had a bad experience. Our intent is not to do that. Our intent is to put the best possible product we can in front of you. If I miss the mark, then let me know, because they're my recipes. And I want to know how it tasted different from the last time. I want to know that David, one of the best servers in the area, how he took care of you. And I want to know how you enjoyed sitting at Teddy's bar. I want to know that you struck up conversation with this guy named Terry sitting next to you at the bar, and you made a good friend. I want to know these experiences. I want to know that I'm doing things right, and I want to know the things that in your eyes, if they're not going right, how can I make it better for you the next time? Does it mean changing my whole menu? No, I think that's unrealistic. Mm-hmm. But if there's something I can do in-house that is going to make you come back and come back again and bring people with, I'll do it all day long. Mm-hmm. I'm unapologetic for the passion that I have for the restaurant. I'm unapologetic for the way that I love. I'm extremely monogamous in my relationships, whether it's professionally or personally. And that means towards my friends. If I've got somebody out there saying some negative things towards me, hey, that person's my friend. And if you want to talk about that, I don't know. I think John Hopkins kind of said it best. Let judgments and opinions of the mind be judgments and opinions of the mind. Mm-hmm. It's just a really, really poetic way of saying, if you don't have something nice to say, keep your fat yap shut. Mm-hmm. And I find myself starting to think things about people or circumstances or, say sports in general, but I just keep to myself because it doesn't add weight or value.
Sure.
Yeah. So I just keep to myself, and then I just avoid things that I don't like, and I cling to things that I do.
Well, and the mark of someone with integrity is not avoiding making mistakes, but how you respond to those, and it sounds like that's what you're looking to do. Yeah.
I've cried plenty over it, but I haven't thrown a temper tantrum fit and jumped up and down and screamed. And I've asked why me a couple of times, but I will not ask what's next, other than what is the blessing that is getting ready to come down on me.
I like it.
Because I feel it. Mm-hmm. I feel it in my core. I just think something is just right around the corner. Brenda, who's on the label of the Mudslingers, my ex-wife, her boyfriend stopped by the restaurant the other night, and he was like, "Are you around?" He goes, "Can you have a couple of beers?" I'm like, "Well, I know a guy. I can have a couple of beers or so." And so he came in, and he was like, "Hey, man," he was like, "Aren't you happy?" I'm like going, well, I guess so. Yeah, I'm happy. He goes, no. He goes, Mudslinger just won Best Bloody Mary 3 years in a row. You got to be happy about that because he's seen front row of the last year and a half or so. And he's been a big cheerleader, and Brenda's been a big cheerleader. It's just the Mudslinger hasn't gone exactly how well we want it to go, but it exists.
Yep.
And this next year is going to be pivotal. I just know there's something really big that's getting ready to happen with Mudslinger. And it's not even 100% yet, but there's something I want to do that I just feel in my bones, and I believe I can get it done.
Yeah.
And especially with the team around me. And then mud bugs, that Buda, that's all for you. There's nothing I've ever wanted more than my own restaurant, and to do it in a place where I think they'd be very well received. And Buda has proven that. Not me, but Buda's proven that they love this restaurant. I want you to come back. I want you to be relevant. I want you to keep mud bugs relevant is what I mean. And just watch out. We've got some really cool things. The deck, we've got non-alcoholic shakes for the kids, boozy shakes for the adults, new items or old items brought back, old items done new ways. Changing things behind the bar a little bit, putting a big 86-inch screen TV back there, a couple more TVs downstairs, dress it up a little bit more. But all this will be done incrementally. How to eat an elephant one bite at a time type of thing.
That's right.
So, if it doesn't kill you, boy, I am Hercules. And I don't mean Hercules. Yeah. I mean Hercules, bro.
Well, man, Buda loves you.
I love Buda.
I know it, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. This has been great, fantastic talk. I learned from you.
Well, I thought this was more about you tonight, not me. I thought you were going to have the interviewer, somebody's been through a process, and then a new guy. But actually, you switched it up on me and made it about me.
This is you. Yeah, surprise.
Hey, surprise.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me along, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff.
Hey,
thanks for coming on, dude.
Love you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jerry, good talk again, buddy. Yeah.
You're